Hello, welcome to Lil's Vintage World and welcome to the first video in a new series of book reviews that I'm going to be doing. So these books that I'm going to share with you today are all from the same series, which is a Furrowed Middlebrow book series. I've done a book haul of these books which I'll share for you up here, so you can go and check these books out and some more that I've had drop into my lap recently. And I can't wait to share them with you. So these Furrowed Middlebrow books are published by Dean Street Press, which publish books that have gone out of print. And yes, I love these books so much and I'm so addicted to the series now, and hopefully by the end of this video you will be too. So shall we get straight into it? I have 3 books to share with you, 2 of which I was very kindly sent for review and 1 of which I bought myself. So I'll start with the ones that I was sent for review. Very kind, thank you Dean Street Press. So first one that I want to share with you is Miss Plum and Miss Penny by Dorothy Evelyn Smith. This is my first book that I've read by Dorothy Evelyn Smith, and I wanted it because I'd heard nothing but good things, and I read it and I have nothing but good things to say about it. So this book was first published in 1959 and is about 2 women called Miss Plum, funny enough, and Miss Penny. And Miss Penny, Miss Alison Penny, lives a very happy, comfortable life. She lives in this quiet little village. She does all her WI meetings and she does the scouts and the cubs and all that type of thing, and she's a very integral part of the village life, and she's a very popular woman in her village, and she has her kind of housekeeper Ada that lives with her, and they just get on very well, and you know, they're not rich or anything, but she just lives a very comfortable life. And on her 40th birthday she decides to take a walk, and she goes and she's walking around this area and there's a duck pond, and she sees this woman there, quite a young woman, and she's very visibly upset, and she realises that actually this woman is walking into this duck pond to commit suicide. And so Alison's like, "What are you doing? Come here." And she's like shouting at her to come here, but she does. She comes out of the duck pond, and so Miss Penny's like, "Okay, we need to help you." And so in comes Miss Plum into Miss Penny's life, and her name is actually Victoria Plum, which is quite funny. And Victoria really shakes up the dynamic of Alison and everyone else around her, so her neighbours and her friends, and shakes up like this village life. And it's such a good book. I really enjoyed it. It has this plot which I never really knew where it was going until the end, and I was like, could it go this way? And then I was like, no, surely. And then it did, and I was like, oh no. And it was just brilliant. It's nothing like what I've read before. It's a completely different sort of plot to what I've read before, but I really enjoyed it. I loved the writing. The writing was quite unusual because it was very cosy and it was lovely. I got my duvet, my blanket, and I was eating chocolate, and it was just lovely and a perfect reading sort of setting. But it also has this dark comedic twist to it as well. So it's not just the get cozy under the covers sort of book, it has this dark comedy element to it as well. So if you like dark comedy, you'll really like this. It was quite funny, but I loved it. I mean, there's such good jokes in this. One of which was, so this book is set around Christmas time, so very apt to read it around now. And Miss Penny is like, "Oh, I've sent Ada a Christmas card, it's our tradition, I better send one to Victoria." So she's going through a Christmas card, she's like, "Oh, I don't have many left. This one's a bit manky, no. This one's a bit plain, no." And she's like, "Well, it's either down to this one or this one. And this one's one with a duck pond, so I can't send that one." And because of course she tried to commit suicide in a duck pond. And it's one of those things where you feel like you shouldn't laugh, but you can't help but laugh. And it was just, yeah, it's making my dimples ache thinking about it. It was so funny, but cosy and charming. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I can't wait to read more of Dorothy Evelyn Smith because this was just so entertaining. It's wonderful. The next one that I want to share with you was another one that I was kindly sent for review. This is Mrs. Martell by Elizabeth Eliot, and this is from 1953. Yes, 1953. And this is about a woman called, funny enough, Mrs. Martell, known as Kathy, that's her Christian name, and she is very vain, self-absorbed, self-obsessed. She is obsessed with like class and status and money. But then she also fancies her cousin's husband and she wants him for herself. But will she get him? I can't tell you, because it'll ruin it. I really enjoyed this. I'm just going to say that for all of them, aren't I? Really enjoyed it. But I did. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was so, so good. I loved having a character like Kathy who was so vile that you can't help but like her. There was times in the book where I really disliked her. I mean, I did mostly dislike her. I was like, oh, you vile piece of work. You absolute turd on a stick. But then there was times where I was like, oh, she's so bad. I love her. It was just like that. And then her cousin Laura, was it Laura? Sure, it was Laura. Her cousin Laura, who, you know, she's trying to steal her husband off. I was like, I felt really sorry for her. And then at other times I was like, stop being a wet blanket and do something about it, love. Yeah, so she was getting on my nerves and I was like, oh my, I just felt so compromised. I was like, I don't know who I like, I don't know who I hate, but I just enjoyed loving and kind of disliking everyone. It was wonderful. It was just, yeah. And oh, the end. I wish I could do like chat about the end, because the end, I was just like, yes. The end was incredible. And you read this and how it makes you feel about certain people by the end will really make this book for you. The ending was just terrific, and I felt like sometimes it was panto because I was like talking at the book like, you can't do that, but it was just wonderful. And I read it super quickly, and again I want to read more of Elizabeth Elliot's works, because if it has more characters like Kathy and the like in, I know I'm gonna love it. So yeah, pick it up, it's brilliant. And then lastly in this book for you, I have to share with you the wonderful Begin Again by Ursula Orange from 1936. This is the first book in the third Middlebrow book series that I ever picked up, and this is the book that I bought myself. I got it online, easy to get your hands on, and it was just wow. So this book is about 4 young women, probably see there, and it's about their lives in the 1930s. So very briefly, first of all we have Sylvia. Sylvia she lives at home, but she is independent, so she kind of comes and goes as she pleases. She doesn't believe in the custom of marriage. She's sexually liberated. She was wonderful. I really liked Sylvia. Then we have Jane. Jane lives in London, and she shares a flat with Florence, who I'll talk about in a sec. Jane has an office job, a kind of like 9:30, 5:30 sort of thing. She's engaged to a man called Henry, and she's been engaged to him for 3 years. They met at Oxford University when they were both there, but he won't kind of commit to marrying her because he's like, I want to have this certain wage coming in and I want to support you in this much. So he's kind of pushing her away a little bit while trying to hold on to her. So she still kind of sees other men as well, because she either wants him to just kind of marry her or she sees other people. But it's very clear that he's definitely more into her than she is into him. Then we have Florence. Love Florence. I love all of the women. But Florence, as I said, lives with Jane in a flat in London. Florence also has an office job, which she hates. She really despises. It's really not for her. She doesn't get much male attention at all, and it's very clear that she lives quite a sad life, really. When you read the parts of Florence, it's just like she goes to work, she comes home, she's tired, she eats very little, off to bed she goes, and that, you know, it's just that repetitive nature, and she's definitely not living a fulfilled life. And then we have Leslie. Leslie's the one that you meet right at the beginning of the book, who wants what these other 3 have. So she wants independence. Leslie lives at home with her mom, and her mom's like doesn't want to let Leslie have that independence. Leslie wants to go to London, she wants to be an artist, she wants that freedom that the other girls, in her opinion, have, and she doesn't. And it's about these 4 women's lives as they're in this kind of adulthood. This book was amazing. It absolutely blew my socks off. It is the perfect time capsule book. If you want to read about what life was like in the 1930s for young women, what is expected of them, yet what is reality and what they want, read this book. I got more out of this book than I would if I read 10 non-fiction books on the topic. This was amazing. Ursula Orange literally transported me back into the 1930s, and I was a fly on the wall watching these young women's lives of what is expected of them, you know, because at this time we've had the First World War and times have changed for women. There's this rise of individualisation going on where it is acceptable for women to be single. Yes, it is. It's acceptable for women to go out and get a job. Yes, it is. It's acceptable for them to live alone, live with a female partner. Yes, it is. And to get that independence. And we see this rise in women. But this book just showed every part of the 1930s of these women's lives, and it was absolutely amazing. So there we have it. That is my little book haul. I hope that these books have taken your fancy. Chat to me all things about these books in the comment section below. Have you read any of these books yet? Are any of these books sat on your wish list? So go and check these books out further if you want to. I'll leave links in the description below to Dean Street Press, which is the publisher of these books. And that's it. I hope you're well, take care, and I shall see you soon for the next video. Bye for now.